Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihil kareem. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah calls our attention in the Quran and He says, Ya ayyuhal mudathir kum va'andir. And we look at this idea being presented, just the 2 verses of the Quran. Again, we want to continue our discussion on the subject of doing dawah in the month of Ramadan. And this dawah, as we mentioned before, comes as a result of us looking at the history in Islam. History in Islam is very important. Do you know that none of the sciences in Islam that we come to know could exist without history? Without the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, without history, we would not know these sciences. These sciences, their foundation is history. A history that traces back to the Prophet in its terms of authentication to ensure that this was indeed something that the Prophet ﷺ did or encouraged. So it's important for us to take a look at that, dear brothers and sisters, and begin to find a good book of seerah and begin studying that during the month of Ramadan, if you can do so. The month is running out, so you're going to have to make some time for that, dear brothers and sisters. But I make a point to say, historically, we have the Prophet ﷺ being told by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to go out and warn the people. Warn the people in what way? By giving them dawah. He says in Surah 16, 125, call to the people, call the people to Allah with beautiful impreachment and wisdom, and argue with them in a manner which is best. And so we look at this idea being presented in Allah, giving us dawah techniques. He's telling us to call to them with wisdom and beautiful impreachment, saying, in one of the commentators of the Quran says that this means to say the appropriate things at the appropriate time in the appropriate way to the people. And so when we're giving dawah, we don't want to be so hard and so how would you say, unreasonable in our assessment or when we give them some information, but we understand their condition, that they haven't been the people who have gotten the Quran, but we have, and there's a greater accountability on us. After all, the Quran came to Muhammad ﷺ, and that Quran reached you by what? Someone's dawah effort. There was someone that did some level of dawah on you, that caused you to come in. You asked somebody about Islam and they did it. Many of us who've been born with Islam, we didn't really get a feel for Islam until we got older and we began to discern, and then we accepted it within our own selves before we became active. It's very difficult for you to see someone active and they were born in the religion, but they haven't just necessarily accepted it. There are millions of people that are around the world today that will tell you that they were born Muslim, but they have not made one salat. They don't fast Ramadan. They haven't any intentions on going to Hajj. You might see them at the Eid, and that's it. And so this has to come as a result of some level of acceptance within oneself, that Islam is the deen, is my deen. Muhammad is my prophet, and in the religion of Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is my Lord. It's important, dear brothers and sisters. So how do we generate this conversation with the people? Well, you don't have to talk much. If you just gave out pamphlets during the month of Ramadan consistently, you've served your purpose. If you left some pamphlets somewhere, say in all English place or whatever language that's prevalent in that particular area, and you left them in the laundromat, you left them in the doctor's office, you gave someone a newspaper. You shared with them some information regarding Islam by virtue of you giving them a pamphlet or a book. Or you gave them an English translation. And here in the United States, we have the English translation of the Quran. We give them out as gifts all the time, and we don't worry about what they do with them. Because it's not the original Arabic text, and the English is a close translation, but we don't worry about that. We do give them as dawah, because many people that are not Muslim, they come in and ask for this. And so the dawah effort for us is to try to create awareness with people, whether they accept or reject, whether they like it or not. The idea is that you're giving them a clear view of what Islam is about by virtue of your own actions. And you can do dawah, dear brothers and sisters, by virtue of your actions. Now, what kind of actions do we have to do dawah with? Well, whatever you do for them is going to be considered something that they trace back to Islam. So when they ask you, dear brothers and sisters, about why are you so kind or why you guys are consistent in giving, just tell them that it's from the Sharia. The Sharia of Islam, and this is a term that they've made negative. Sharia is a very positive term. In fact, Sharia is pro-life. You see, pro-community development, pro-family, the Sharia. And it's the same Sharia that they try to dispel and make seem like they demonize it. And we as Muslims have to take those terminologies back. And so it's important for us, dear brothers and sisters, to take our dawah and do as much as we can, not only by what we say, but what we let them see us do. May Allah help us to that we say Ameen. Allahumma Ameen. Assalamu alaikum.